What's up, Chuckers? Techie Sean here, filling in for producer Mike this week to bring you your Served 5-Setter, your weekly roundup of all things racket sports, 5 stories in 10 minutes or less. Before we get into it, please hit subscribe on YouTube and give us a follow on your favorite podcast platform so you can stay up to date on all things served. We really appreciate the love and support. That said, today is April 24th, 2026, and here's what we've got for you. Motherhood and a comeback, WTA front office shakeup, tennis owns the Oscars of sport, and London is calling and the world answers. But first, for set number 1, we are starting in the Spanish capital, where this week's Madrid Open delivered both a graceful farewell and a breathless debut. First, the goodbye. On Wednesday, Roberto Bautista Agut played his final match at Caja Mágica, and the crowd gave it right back to him. The 38-year-old Spaniard, who announced his retirement at the end of this season just last week, lost his first-round match to Argentina's Thiago Agustín Terrante 6-2, 6-4. But the scoreline was, in the words of the tournament itself, completely secondary. After the match, tournament directors Feliciano Lopez and Gabrín Muguruza, two legends of Spanish tennis in their own right, joined him on court to present a commemorative plaque. His wife Ana and sons Roberto Jr. and Lucas were there. It was, by all accounts, the kind of farewell that players dream about and rarely get. Bautista Agut's career numbers speak for themselves. 12 ATP titles, a peak ranking of world number 9, 27 weeks in the top 10, a Wimbledon semifinal in 2019, and $20 million in prize money. We wish him the very best on the road ahead. Now, the debut. A 19-year-old named Rafael Jodar showed up and reminded everyone why Spanish tennis doesn't stay quiet for long. Born and raised literally 12 kilometers from the Madrid Open courts, Jodar came back from a set down to beat Jesper de Jong 2-6, 7-5, 6-4 in 2.5 hours. With that win, he became just the third Spaniard to earn a main draw win in Madrid before turning 20. He's now at a career high of 42 in the world after winning his first ATP title in Marrakesh earlier this month and reaching the Barcelona semis last week. Jodar is scheduled to face 5th seed Alex de Minaur today, Friday, April 24th. Catch that one if you can. Set number 2 starts with a great announcement. On Tuesday, Ons Jabeur announced the birth of her son, Elyan Kamoun, born April 20th. Jabeur shared the news on Instagram with a message, "A tiny miracle, a lifetime of love," alongside a photo of her and husband Kareem cradling their boy. The tennis world immediately flooded her comments. Coco Gauff, Emma Raducanu, Alina Svitolina, Leylah Fernandez, Paula Badosa, Billie Jean King, the list goes on. They all showed up. Jabeur has confirmed her plans to return. The WTA's Enhanced Maternity Program ensures she'll have special rankings protection and up to 12 months of paid leave. We'd be remiss not to remember just how singular a player Jabeur has been. 3 Grand Slam finals, the 22 US Open, and back-to-back Wimbledon finals in 22 and 23, the highest-ranked Arab and African player in history for both the WTA and ATP, and one of the most beloved personalities in the sport has ever seen. Welcome to the world, Elyan. Your mom is kind of a legend. In more motherhood news, Camilla Giorgi, the Italian former world number 26, announced that she is expecting her first child with her husband, former ATP player Andreas Pasuti. Giorgi retired from tennis in 2024 without so much as a goodbye tweet, but earlier this week, she responded to a few fan questions on Instagram stories confirming her plans for a 2027 return. For those who need a recap, Giorgi's exit was one of the stranger stories in recent years. Her name appeared on the ITIA's retired players list without any announcement. Then came reports out of Italy alleging she and her family had fled to Argentina to avoid tax collectors. Allegations she has denied. We'll see when and where she decides to make her return in 2027. On to set number 3, where we're going from the court to the front office. On Wednesday, the WTA confirmed that CEO Portia Archer has stepped down effective Monday, April 20th, right at the end of her initial contract and ahead of renewal talks. The news came through a memo from WTA chair Valerie Camillo to staff, members, and stakeholders, which was then shared publicly. No reason was given for the departure. In her note, Camillo credited Archer with expanding the tour into new markets, pushing player-first initiatives, enhancing safeguarding standards, and driving tech innovation. A transition plan is in the works, with an update promised by mid-May. That's what we know for now. Stay tuned for updates. If you weren't watching the Laureus World Sports Awards in Madrid on Monday, you missed a clinic in why tennis is having a moment. Known as the Oscars of sport, the Laureus Awards gather the biggest names in global athletics once a year to honor excellence. Carlos Alcaraz won the World Sportsman of the Year, Aryna Sabalenka won the World Sportswoman of the Year. Both accepted their awards in Madrid just days before the Madrid Open draw came out. The ceremony was hosted by 2 former Laureus winners, freestyle skiing star Eileen Gu and the GOAT of our sport, Novak Djokovic. Check this out.
大家好， 很开心今天在马德里见到大家。
Very impressive. English, Spanish, Mandarin. Let me try. 新荣幸见到你 Menu. Apologies for my accent. And let me
That
add,
was so good.
it's a Beijing accent, yeah, sorry. And let me say, lepo je biti s tobom večeras ovdje.
Serbian?
Yes, don't tell me you're speaking that too.
Ne još uvek.
Wow, impressive. And of course, to our hosts, gracias a nuestros anfitriones, el alcalde Almeida y la presidenta Ayuso. Gracias.
Multilingual, charismatic, commanding the room. Is there anything this guy isn't good at? I'd like to know so I can feel better about myself. There was also plenty of tennis star power in the crowd. Sinner was nominated for Sportsman of the Year alongside Alcaraz. Amanda Anisimova was up for Comeback Player of the Year, and Joao Fonseca was nominated for Breakthrough of the Year. Lorenzo Musetti, Jasmine Paolini, and Alex Fiala were all in attendance. This was the 26th edition of the Laureus Awards. Since 2000, tennis players have won the top men's individual award 13 times, and Sabalenka joins an illustrious group of WTA winners. The sport has never been more present on the global stage. And finally, set number 5, from one European capital to another. This Tuesday, April 28th, the 100th World Team Table Tennis Championships begins in London. Kicking off at the Copper Box Arena before moving to the OVO Arena Wembley on May 2nd, where it runs through the finals on May 10th. This is a centennial event. The very first World Table Tennis Championships were held in London 100 years ago, and the sport is returning to the city where it all began. The last time Wembley hosted the championships was in 1954. In 2026, there's an elephant in the room, or more accurately, an elephant not in the room. Fan Zhendong, the reigning Olympic singles champion and the sport's biggest star, is not competing for China. His absence has ignited speculation online that there's tension between Fan and the federation. He actually withdrew from the ITTF World Rankings entirely after Paris to avoid fines for non-participation. Despite his absence, China's men are still the heavy favorites. They're chasing their 12th consecutive title. If you're interested in watching some high-class table tennis, you can find streams at worldtabletennis.com. Time for the tie-break trivia. Going back to set number 4 and the Laureus Awards, who is the only tennis player to win 2 awards in the same year? We'll have that answer in this week's 5-setter newsletter, and while you're there, check out the headlines that didn't make the show this week, including a full update on the Madrid Open and the top player who just withdrew from Rome. For the full breakdown, head to surfpodcast.com or find us on Substack. Remember to hit subscribe on YouTube or follow us on your favorite podcast platform. This has been Techie Sean. Thank you, Chuckers, for putting up with me this week. Please, producer Mike, save me from being on camera.